if we want to be the leaders, if we want to be the protectors, if we want to kind of embrace this role, he didn't make excuses. And I'm tired of guys in their 20s, right, walking around like saying, acting like they're not going to find those answers in the mirror. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. My name is Omar Tariq. I'm a Muslim marriage and life coach trying to help people build Islamic marriages, healthy Islamic marriages. So if that's something that you're interested in, go ahead and subscribe to me, and I hope this is beneficial to you. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم بسم الله الحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله وعلى آله وصحبه ومن والاه ربي اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقهوا قولي آمين يا رب العالمين. We begin in the name of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We thank him, we praise him, we send peace and blessings upon our beloved Prophet Messenger Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam wa ala alihi, and upon his family wa sahbihi, and upon the companions ومن والاه, and upon the believers until the day of judgment. I'm dressed a little differently today, and I'm in a different location. And one of the reasons is because there's something that I want to talk about that is it's very close to my heart, very close to my lifestyle, and I think more of us need to try to make an effort towards it. This is maybe going to be one of two things I really want to discuss, so like maybe a two-part series. But the idea is, we as Muslims, as Muslim men, if we want to be the leaders, if we want to be the protectors, if we want to kind of embrace this role Allah Azza wa Jal has kind of asked us to do and ordered us to do, and from the example of the Prophet ﷺ, we want to encourage us to continue follow that, we need to recognize that there's a physical aspect of it. Right? There is a training, there is a fitness, there is a level that we want to try to aspire to be. It was said about the Prophet ﷺ that he would be surrounded by the Sahabi as they went into battle, and they would surround him to protect him. But by the end of it, he would be protecting them. That's how good of a fighter he was. It was said about him that when there were people that said, hey, I am the strongest wrestler and no one can defeat me, the Prophet ﷺ was able to defeat people much larger than him. Maybe it's the technique, maybe it's the strength, maybe it's the fitness. And if anyone knows what it is to be in a 6-minute wrestling match, subhanAllah, so much respect for those athletes. It's incredible. It's difficult, right? There were regular wrestling matches in masjids, right? And it goes on and on. But the examples that we have from Sahabi were, they didn't just sit down and make money at a computer all day, right? They paid attention. They went and they worked. They did what they had to do, but they were strong, and they made sure to be strong. There were people that were scholars, for sure, but there were also scholars that were able to lift the sword when it came time for battle. So what does that mean for us, right? What do we need to do? And this is something that, again, my reflections I just want to share from my life, but even as I see people as they near the end of their life, a lot of my patients, I see them with heart disease, I see them with CHF, I see them with uncontrolled diabetes, I see them losing hands and limbs, and you start to notice that once you get to the age of starting to get married, maybe you're 20, maybe you're 30, maybe into your 40s, the decisions you make then in terms of what you eat, in terms of what activity level you have, what medications you need to be on because your lifestyle is not living up to what it should be, they start to set the tone and the pace for the rest of your life. It's a beautiful day today, alhamdulillah, and it's free to go outside and go for a walk. At this point, I would say if you haven't gone for a walk, hey, take a couple steps. It's not just about what your step counter is saying. It's about, hey, this being a discipline. A lot of us, we get caught up in fitness goals. This isn't your, hey, let me have a New Year's resolution. It's not even a Ramadan goal. Although there is something to say about, hey, let me make dua this Ramadan and try to see progress by next Ramadan, for sure. This is instead a discipline that we need to understand. I don't want people to just get motivated. I don't want them to see this video or see other videos and, I'll put you on, one of my boys who does a lot of great work in terms of encouraging fat loss for, especially for Muslims, but for anybody who benefits. But it's not just about that. It's about a certain lifestyle, a discipline. And one of the things that's very important for us to understand, especially if you aren't married yet, is this is not something you can assign, nor should you assign to your spouse. It's not something that you should kind of set it so that your level of fitness is dependent on their level of fitness. It's time for us to man up, right? It's time for us to try to be the leaders, even if we never say a word, but with our actions and our lifestyle, and start making demands of ourselves, right? Being cognizant when you are eating something that's high caloric, Being cognizant of how often you're working out. What does it look like when you're busy? The days you have work and you have so much going on, are you training at all? Is there anything that you can do to get your heart rate going a little bit? And what about your days off? Is it just, oh, I worked so hard, so therefore I need to just sit down on the couch all day and just relax? It's okay to relax and chill out, but there's no balance there. There's no balance there, right? And the Prophet ﷺ was the most balanced. So how could he be giving da'wah, be teaching classes, right? And then yet, even prior to wahi, he was able to make the climb up the mountain that was so strenuous, right? That was so difficult that when people tried to do it years later and we tried to study it, like, subhanallah adim, he was in amazing shape, right? He didn't get in shape for the message, right? He was in shape, and then the message came to him and he was prepared. And that's one of the first things we need to talk about, that we're not just training for a marathon or training for, hey, my wedding's coming up, I want to fit in my tux. No, we don't take that approach. We're always trying to be ready. We're trying to stay ready, right? And one of the things that we do when we set these goals that, hey, I want to lose this many pounds, like, alhamdulillah, that's great. But that's not what I'm here to say today. What I'm here to say today is that there was a discipline in fitness and in training that the earliest Muslims, they had, and that we need to try to get ourselves into, right? And we should not try to assign it to somebody else. Oh, my gym partner wasn't there this morning, so I didn't go. We shouldn't try to, and it's not fair, and it will cause strain on marriages if you try to assign your standards and your the things that you're trying to achieve and your goals on your spouse as well. That's not fair, right? It's okay if you start growing towards each other, but maybe she'll have her own fitness goals, right? Or maybe you're going to be in the position to encourage her, or maybe she's encouraging you, Allah alam. But the fact is, there is an element of any relationship where, hey, somebody has to be the protector. And if those of you who are married, you ever go for a walk in the park and, you know, somebody has their dog loose and they think that their dog's not going to hurt anybody and it has no leash on, or, you know, some you know, old lady or old man's holding their leash, and you're like, man, that dog's really can break away if they want to. You tense up. I've talked to many men about this. You tense up. You're prepared. You're like, all right, well, I don't know what I'm going to do, but I know I'm going to get between that dog and my wife, God forbid something happens, right? If there's a threat, right? Being able to handle yourself, learning martial arts, you know, there's so many people, so many other life coaches that have talked about this, but first things first, we need to commit to something, right? So a couple of ways we can do this. One of the things I love is you have this conversation with Allah Azza wa Jalla. You say to Allah that, hey, this is something that's important. This is something that I want to do. First and foremost, I cannot do it without your permission, without your help. So many people want to make a resolution without making dua. It doesn't work that way, right? You need to ask Allah Azza wa Jalla for His help and His guidance. But if we understand tawakkul, it's not just going to be, hey, we leave it up to Allah. Now, what's the plan? What are the actions? One of the things I love to do, and I was very blessed to have, is there was a bunch of youth that would call me to the masjid when I was younger, even when I didn't know where the masjid was, and say, hey, we're going to play soccer, or we're going to go play basketball or something. And that's something that drew me to the community. So, you know, trying to get closer to Allah while achieving your body goals or your fitness goals, and trying to make that something that is a part of your lifestyle. And, you know, give a shout out to my boy, Azim's Fit. Mashallah, he's doing amazing work in terms of encouraging people to have fat loss and control their intake and understand what they're eating and how to get in shape. And he coaches. I don't even think he knows I'm giving him the plug, but you know, hit up my boy's Instagram. He's fantastic. I've seen him, and one thing I love about Azim is Abdul Azim is he's been in so many phases of life, and I've seen him maintain and grow in terms of his goal. Pre-married, married, kids, right? He didn't make excuses. And I'm tired of guys in their 20s, right, walking around like saying, acting like they're 40 or 50. Oh, I'm getting old, I'm getting tired, I'm getting this and that. I'm not body shaming people, right? It's not about what you look like. And that's really what I want to come down to, right? It's the discipline. The fact is, in order for the Sahabi to be able to respond at times of battle, they needed to be ready, right? And maybe we're not going to battle, but maybe we should start thinking that way. It's another tip that I wanted to give, that it's not just about, hey, I'm going to go for a run. We need competition. As men, we need that, right? Where do you go to battle in your life? Because I have, you know, when I run one of my groups, one of my soccer groups, I know that there are people that will take out their negative emotions, take out their aggressions on drugs, on alcohol, on their families. And I would rather them come out, play an hour or two of soccer with my group, have a great time, and get that out. There are times you will be angry. There are times that you will feel disrespected. And there are times that you feel that you need to say something and put it down in your family, right? Whatever decision you make, one of the things you want to do is get certain negativities out of you, right? Or be training when you're in competition, when you're in a game, someone disses you, someone fouls you pretty hard. How do you respond when you're angry? As we know in Islam, the reward for patience happens at that moment, right? The highest level of reward happens at that moment, right? Someone takes your legs out and, you could get hurt. How are you going to respond, right? Is aggression haram? Not necessarily. But how are you going to handle that, right? Are you going to go on a revenge match and try to hurt somebody back? That's not from our tradition, right? Are you going to defend yourself? Absolutely, right? But trying to show your character, show that you're a Muslim when you're surrounded by other people that are competing as well, right? Controlling yourself. Then when you transfer that skill into arguments, when you feel like you're being disrespected, when you're misinterpreting something, or someone told you they were going to do something in your family and they didn't do it, and you're getting upset and you're relying on them and it didn't work out the way you intended it to work out, right? You need a place for that aggression to go, and you need a place to kind of channel that, number one. And you also need to train yourself that when you're getting aggressive in these sports, how to kind of handle that and kind of control that. I think today, Allah alam, but we are comfortable, a lot of us, in non-Muslim countries, in a certain way. And subhanAllah, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala help the Muslims. So many countries, I just think of the name and they're just suffering. They're literally dealing and fighting for their lives sometimes. And we're cushioned and we're comfortable. But we all have our different trials, right? May Allah protect them. May Allah ease their suffering. But whatever situation we can handle where we're at right now, what we can do is just try to make sure that we're the best version of ourselves, right? For our families, you want to lead your family away from, maybe it's not someone that's persecuting them for being a Muslim or what they're wearing or, trying to worship Allah. But maybe what is going to attack your family is, certain diseases that can be prevented, right? And you want to get yourself to that point where you have this discipline. So one day your kids, they know how to train, they know how to work out, they know how to accept, hey, no matter what I look like, I know that it's okay to break a sweat and I know it's a priority and I'm going to do it, right? So one of the things that I recommend is, again, tying your ibadah and a part of your ibadah to this as well. Understanding that when you're trying to get fit, when you're trying to discipline yourself, when you're trying to go out there, you're trying to, catch some rays and go for a walk, go for a run out here, run 4s, run 5s, finding that competition. This is an act of worship, right? And then it allows you to control yourself and handle yourself accordingly, that I represent this Deen when I'm out there. So even if somebody hits me, fouls me, whatever the case may be, I'm going to kind of handle it the right way, right? I'm going to control my anger to a certain degree and make sure that it's appropriate what comes out of my mouth and what actions come next, right? I just feel that this is not something that is taken seriously nowadays, and we look for excuses and we look to say, hey, once I get through this threshold, I'm going to be doing this, this, and this. You hear all the time with worship. Once I become 30 or 40 or slow down, I'm going to actually take things seriously. But guess what? Everything you did till then was a preparation for who you are now, and the decision you're going to make, it's not going to be that easy. Right? It's not that simple. And oftentimes, the people, if we're blessed to even live much longer, they find it very difficult because they've gotten addicted to, whether it be substances or certain harmful things. And that's another thing, when you're worried about your fitness, when you're worried about your body, when you're worried about working out, you do tend to stay away from things like drugs and alcohol as well. It's something that a Muslim shouldn't be consuming. There's really no ifs, ands, or buts. But, the guys that are just, smoking a hookah early in high school and stuff, they don't do that when they have nationals coming up, when they have the quarterly track meet coming up, when they have a game the next day, right? Or if they're serious there or not anyway. So as a Muslim man, right, let us move forward. Let us try to find a way to keep this as a part of our worship. Find that competition, right? It's not just about going for a walk. I've found that competition has really helped me grow and achieve more fitness goals than not having it. If that means you have to sign up for a 5K, you're just going to walk it out, that's fine. But you're not going to go that 5K no matter how much you tell yourself if you don't sign up for it, right? It's for years and years past by. If you've been telling yourself, hey, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that, and you haven't done it, we need to change something. The final thing I wanted to mention, and maybe this is partially an inspiration for the video, is it is not going to be up to your spouse to... The final thing I want to mention, and maybe this is a partial inspiration for this video, is it is not going to be, nor should it be, upon your spouse and her responsibility to make sure that you're achieving your fitness goals. This needs to come from you. This needs to come from your own sense of discipline, your own mindset, right? Buying that scale and holding yourself accountable, trying to pay attention to your blood test, pay attention to where your health is right now, and not just saying, oh, I kind of fit in these pants, so I'm good, right? Having that drive in yourself that, hey, I'm slightly uncomfortable with my fitness level right now, so I'm going to start moving towards it. But it's not fair to say that the other person in the relationship has the same motivations as you, has the same goals as you, has the same upbringing as you, and it's an unfair expectation. It can honestly put some strain on the relationship. They're going to be at their pace and you're going to be at your pace, and you're going to want to go after your goals in a way that you're comfortable with. And similarly, when you're uncomfortable with yourself, you want them to be comfortable as well, but that will actually come out. And then those frustrations should be pointed at you. Instead, you start pointing at the other person. Oh, it's because you made this food that I'm gaining weight, right? It's because, you never want to go for a jog that I never jogged, right? And the list goes on. Brothers, we got to stop doing this. We need to stop complaining. We don't complain, right? We make dua to Allah and we send our complaints above about ourselves and our weaknesses, and we ask Allah to make it easy on us, and then we take action, right? If you're not getting up for Fajr, right? If you're not trying to go to the masjid, if you're not trying to go to the gym after, you're not trying to go for a walk or a run. I was watching another video about this coach, and he was kind of reprimanding some youth he said, you youth want to shoot the ball for, an hour, 2 hours, but none of you want to run a 6-minute mile, right? 6 minutes, right? 7 minutes, 8 minutes, 10 minutes. That's all it takes. But we don't get this heart rate up, right? We don't push. And that's something that if we can start doing that, we can start pushing ourselves, creating a space, a time, a rhythm to do it. It should not be assigned to something in our marriage, and shouldn't be something that, it should be something that we're coming in with. And if you're already married and you're not doing it, fine, no problem. But saying, hey, this is what I'm going to do. This is how I'm going to take care of my sleep, because that affects my body. This is how I'm going to take care of what I eat, because that affects everything as well. This is how I'm going to take care of my need to get out the aggression and competition, and start just discussing this with your spouse, that this is what I need to do, not for her to do it, but rather for you to say, hey, I'm communicating that this is what I'm going to start to do. This is my goal. I'm going to try to train for this. I'm going to try to go for this. Right? May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make it easy. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala protect all of you, protect your health, give you long, healthy lives, keep you away from harmful medications, and make it easy for your fitness journey. And ultimately, wherever you're at right now, may Allah bless you. It doesn't matter what you look like. It doesn't matter, how much you weigh. These are not things that this was intended for, right? I want you to be healthy. I want your heart to be healthy. I want your sugar levels to be healthy. I want your hormones to be healthy. I want you to have all of that. And you're not going to find those answers in the mirror, right? But we can make the intention right now and start making a daily or every other day or a certain goal per week, and just stick to that and go along for the ride. And inshallah ta'ala, when we're much older than now, we'll be grateful for it, as we have not only prevented diseases in ourselves, but we have inspired our family to follow us into having this type of lifestyle. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala protect you all and forgive you and make it easy. I hope this was beneficial and it's something that you like. Again, my name is Omar Tariq. You can check out the link I have for some marriage and life coaching. And at the very least, if you can give this video a like or subscribe, I'd love to hear from you guys. Take care. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.